Hey folks, Coach Danny here from the Basketball Coaches Academy, and today we are going to look at a 5-out motion offense that coaches can use to teach their youth basketball teams. Now, personally, this is my favorite 5-out motion offense. This is the 5-out motion offense that I've always taught to youth basketball teams, and they continue to use that 5-out offense as they get older because they bring those principles with them as they get older and as they learn different systems and different plays. So this is a great motion offense to teach across the board to all age groups. We'll break it down. We'll break down the 5-out motion offense, and we'll even throw in a drill or two that coaches can use to reinforce those 5-out motion offense principles that you kind of need to keep continuous motion offense as the athletes get older. So we'll take a look at the system, and we'll take a look at a couple drills as well. Okay, so first we'll actually take a look at this 5-out motion offense. Now, what we want to enforce here in this motion offense is to never stand still, right? We're talking to our youth teams about never standing in one particular spot. We always want to get moving, right? We're also going to be looking at a lot of passing cuts here, a lot of down screens. We just want the athletes to get moving and fill a particular spot. So obviously with the 5-out, we want to fill 5 spots on the basketball floor, and we want to keep things very spacious for the players, right? Especially if we're talking about youth basketball teams. So we want to try to get everybody outside the 3-point line in their own spot. Now, right here we have the numbers 4, 3, 1, 2, 5. The numbers don't really matter too much, right? That's the whole point of this 5-out offense, is that we want to enforce positionless basketball. So step one with the 5-out motion offense, we need to get some sort of movement, right? What can we get going? So there's a few options. One, we can do some sort of cut, or two, we can get a down screen going. So what I like to do with my teams, I like to give my teams the freedom to choose. As long as you do something, either one of those movements, that's fine. Right. So obviously, let's start with our cutting situation first. So we can look at getting a little V cut going inside the key and out to get open. That's an easy solution. We can also, look to cut to the basket, right? And if we don't receive that pass, we're going to continue cutting and fill a different spot. That's another option that we can do as well. Those are two kind of easy cuts that we can do to get open. Additionally, we can look at screening, like I mentioned, right? So we can go down screen for somebody else to come up and get open, right? So these two players, number 3 and number 2, the players that are closest to the basketball, you need to get some sort of movement going, whether that's a cut or a screen, we need to move. Okay, so for the sake of this, let's say we get some sort of cut, maybe a little V cut into the key and out to get open, right? Number 3 is doing the same thing. Okay, so let's say number 1, to keep it on the right side of the floor, gets number 2 open. Okay, so the ball goes to number 2. Well, now it's on number 1. Number 1 just got rid of the basketball. Now it's on them to initiate some sort of movement. So what we want to enforce is a cut to the basket or a screen away. Same type of thing, screen or cut. Now, number 1 option that we want to look for, though, is a cut. So let's talk about that one first. So number 1 is going to cut and look for the basket. What we like to enforce with our youth players is to get a foot on the key, right? At least 1 foot on the key so we can cut to the basket. We're going to continue cutting, right? If we can get the ball into number 1 for a little give and go, that would be great. A little pass and cut, feed it off to number 1. But for the sake of a motion offense, let's say that doesn't happen, right? So number 1 is going to cut and look for the basketball. They didn't get the basketball, so they're going to fill the far side. That means everybody then has to move up a spot, right? We move up a spot. Now the ball, number 3, is going to reset the basketball. And now we're in the exact same situation. We need to get a pass or a cut. So let's say right now we're in that new situation. Maybe this time we're going to screen. So in this situation, we're going to get number 4 and number 2 to go down screen, for the players closest to the baseline. And those players are going to come up and receive the basketball. So now we're in that 5-out again, but everybody has just moved positions. We won't get these players so high. Right now, what we always try to enforce is, as well as swing the basketball to the other side of the floor. So let's get the ball on the other side of the floor. But now the same situation happens. We need to cut to look for that basketball. So everybody is going to fill a spot. Right, everybody's going to fill a spot. Now we're reset again. All right, let's get the ball up top. We're back into our 5-out. So what we really want to look for here is, we never want to stand still in one particular spot, especially once we get rid of the basketball, right? When we pass the basketball to somebody else, we need to get the ball out of our hands, right? That's what we are enforcing here with our players is never keep the basketball in your hands, right? So let's kind of run through this now a little bit quicker. All right, we need to make sure we're not standing still. So we need a V cut, we need something, a cut to the basket, we need something to get the ball, right? So let's say we get a little quick cut right here. Number two is doing the same thing and move the ball to one side of the floor. Number five is looking for that pass. If they don't get it, everybody's filling up a spot, right? What we want to do right here then is now swing the basketball, right? So if we can find a way to get, maybe number three is open, we can just swing it on to them. But if not, we need to find a way to get somebody else open. Again, we either V cut or we down screen. Let's say in this situation, we down screen, right? We down screen and we swing that basketball. Right now, same thing. We're going to cut to the ball. We're going to look for it. And let's say maybe in this situation, we get the basketball, right? And we get that pass on the cut and we get a wide open layup. Right. So, what I'll do with you teams here is we will run this continuously without scoring the basketball. So, say I have a team of 10 players, I'll put 5 players on one half of the floor, 5 players on the other half of the floor, and they will continuously be running this 5-out motion offense. Right. Then maybe say after about 2 minutes, I will blow the whistle. And when I blow the whistle, that basically means that when we cut off of that pass, we will then pass the ball back to the cutter, and the cutter can then finish for a layup, right? So we don't want to always, give it back to the cutter when we do this. When we run this 5-out offense in practice without a defense there, we want to get these athletes moving and working on the continuous movement of a 5-out. Again, every now and then we'll blow the whistle. What the whistle means is that you can now score off of that pass. You can give the ball back to the cutter, and then, like I said, we can score the basketball. So, is this a particular play that's going to result in, an easy basket, a quick basket? No. What this is 4 players, to learn the spacing of the basketball, how to space on the floor, how to fill a position, right? Because we want to fill one of those 5 spots. But it's also talking about, and it's also enforcing continuous movement, right? We never want to stand still. And when we're talking about youth basketball teams, that's a huge habit that they have is standing still on the floor, not knowing when or how to move. So this simple, basic 5-out offense, will achieve all of those things and start teaching your athletes the basic things that they need to learn how to play in an offensive system. All right, so that is the breakdown of the 5-out motion offense like we talked about. Now let's get into a drill that we can use to kind of reinforce those concepts like I talked about. And before we do that, just a reminder to grab your coach's resources. They are for free. You can grab them in the description or in the comment section, so check them out. Okay, so for this basketball drill, we're going to have 2 lines above the 3-point line. Each line can have 2 to 3 athletes. We want the basketballs in both of these lines. So as we can see, we have a line here, this side on the right side, and a line here on this side on the left side. Now, what we're going to be working on is passing and cutting, right? Passing and cutting. That's going to be, the consistent thing that we're working on here. Okay, so let's say we start this drill with this line on the right side. Now, it's important that, this is one of those drills where it's going to be continuous movement, right? It's going to be continuously moving. We're moving. There isn't really a lot of stopping here on this play. Okay, so we want to work on passing and cutting, but we also want to work on paint touches. Okay, so we can kind of have this person outside the 3-point line if we're dealing with an older team. If we're dealing with a younger team, you might want to move them in a little bit. Okay, maybe these lines can also move over here a little bit more if we have them a little bit too wide to start. Okay, so we're going to start with number 1 who has the basketball. And what number 1 is going to do is they're going to drive hard to the basket. Now, we want to force the idea of getting a paint touch. Now, it depends how high you want to put this wing player, so we put them right here, right? We want to enforce the idea of getting a paint touch, right? That's what we want. If we're working on, continuous movement and continuous motion, and even though this is, kind of a warm-up style of a drill, we still want to implement those strategies. Okay, we attack the paint, we force, defensive, we force the defense to collapse off of our penetration, and that is how we get the ball moving on a 5-out motion offense. We want to, enforce those principles. So number 1 is going to cut hard
to the key, right? They want to get, as close to a paint touch as possible. And then they're going to kick the ball out, and they're just going to run a basic give and go, right? They give to, number 7 in this line, and then they receive the ball back. And then number 1 is going to go up for a layup after receiving the basketball, okay? Now, as number 1 goes up for that layup, number 7 here is following their pass, and they're getting the rebound, okay? After number 1 goes up for that layup, they're going to continue moving, and then they're going to fill this wing. Okay, number 7 gets the rebound. They're dribbling back to the back of the line with the basketball. Okay, ball goes to the front of the line again. And now we run the exact same play, the exact same drill over here on this side of the floor. Number 4 is going to cut to the basket hard. They're going to get that paint touch, or at least, attempt to get a paint touch. Then we want to, hypothetically, have a situation here where the defense would collapse, so we kick it out. Number 4 continues to cut. They have their hands up for a target, looking for the basketball, right? It's a big important thing. We want to even work on the little things, the smaller fundamentals, right? We have our hands up. We look for the basketball. Number 1 is going to give the ball back to number 4. Number 4 goes up for that layup. Number 1 is following the pass. Number 4 continues to move. They fill this side, right? Number 1 is getting the rebound, and then they're filling the back of this line. So number 1 comes to the back of this line with the basketball. Basketball's over here now. Now we're reset. So as you can see, it's continuous movement. Number 2, right? They're getting that paint touch. They're going to kick the ball out. They're going to look for the ball back. They're going to receive it, right? Number 2 is going to go up for the layup. Number 4 is going to follow their pass. Number 2 goes up for the layup, right? They're continuously moving. They're then filling this line. Number 4 is getting the rebound. They're going to the back of this line, right? My lines are kind of getting messed up here, but you understand what we're looking at. So overall, we have, our continuous movement, right? We're basically, the whole drill is just steady go, steady go, steady go. We're not really slowing down at all. We're not really stopping. We're continuously moving. So it's achieving, 1, a warm-up, right? We're warming up our team. But also number 2, right, we're working on passing and cutting. We're working on, something that will be essential to a continuous movement, to a continuous motion offense, which is we penetrate the defense, we force them to collapse, we kick the ball out, we look for the ball back, we have our hands up for a target, right? It's a continuous movement. And even though, it is just a warm-up drill, it sets the tone for the rest of the practice. It sets the tone for what we want to achieve, which is continuous movement on the offensive end. Hold on one quick second, coaches. Before you go anywhere, I've got a couple free resources waiting for you from the Basketball Coaches Academy that'll take your practices and take your teams to the next level. First off, grab your complete guide to the continuous motion offense, which breaks down exactly how to teach your players to play the game, not just run plays. You'll learn what continuous motion offense really means, proven drills to build it, and how to run a motion offense continuously. We have lots of different things in this guide. We have video demonstrations, we have diagrams, we have descriptions, everything that you would need. If you want your athletes to develop real basketball IQ, this is the starting point. The second item that I have for you is the 5 must-have out-of-bounds plays for all ages. These are game-tested sets that you can run with youth or high school teams. We have baseline out of bounds, we have sideline out of bounds, all free for you. They're simple to teach, tough to guard, and each play includes clear diagrams and coaching points so your team stops wasting possessions. And lastly, I have the practice plan template. This printable practice plan template is the exact layout that I use to organize and plan every practice session. So you can plug in your warm-ups, skill blocks, team drills, and scrimmage notes so you can walk into every gym with a clear plan and 0 guesswork. So I have these 3 free items for you. You can claim them using the link in the description. They'll be sent to you right away. Enjoy.